According to a spring 2014 attitudes survey by the Pew Research Center, China sees the United States as its biggest threat. Another survey conducted in Russia showed that Russians are more afraid of the United States than the Islamic State. This should not come as a surprise. The one thing any foreigner cannot do is to refuse to take the United States military seriously. After all, it is the most deadly force in the world and, given the history of the United States civil-military relations, more likely to be used outside the United States than inside the country. So if, as Fallow's postulates, there is a growing gap between the civilian and military worlds in the United States, and, most importantly, if the cost of war is only shared by a tiny percentage of the population, foreigners may be excused for assuming that this will perhaps lead to increased the United States bellicosity. While there is of course a difference in perceptions between the United States allies and the United States adversaries, I posit that the sensation of this latent fear holds true, in varying degrees, for a diverse range of countries. In 2013, another survey found that the United States was seen as the greatest threat to peace in the world. The United States is the indispensable military power, but this seldom translates into genuine gratitude and more often than not slides into open anti-Americanism, as history has illustrated time and again. Based on my own discussions with policymakers in Europe and Asia, the attitude of most the United States allies is that the only thing worse than fighting with the United States is to fight without her. No matter how much American pundits and scholars of the United States civil-military relations point to the marginalization of the military within the United States, to outsiders, the perception is often that of a new Russia partially brought about by the everyday generation of the United States service personnel, but more importantly by the sheer preponderance of the United States military power. As I have pointed out elsewhere, the report by the Advisory Committee on Transformational Diplomacy illustrates how superior resources may cause a skewed perception. These regional combatant commanders have come to be perceived by states and other actors as the most influential. The United States government regional representative. It is argued that the resources that combatant commanders control, their presence and frequent travel throughout the region, and even the symbolic impact of their aircraft and accompanying service members, all combine to place them in perceived position of preeminence. True or not, this perception is also widespread outside the United States. Consequently, the alleged militarization of the United States foreign policy paired with Fallow's assertion of the United States as a chicken hawk nation should cause some consternation among security analysts, not only in Beijing and Moscow, but perhaps also in Western European capitals.